Dylann Roof has been found guilty in the racially motivated killings of 9 black worshipers in Charleston, South Carolina last year.
Tell us where to go! Yeah. Tell us what to do! Yeah.
The jury verdict came after 2 hours of deliberations, but the outcome was never in significant question because Roof, who had initially pleaded not guilty, later confessed to the killings on tape.
I went to that church in Charleston, and I did it.
Roof said he used 7 magazines while shooting with a .45 caliber Glock pistol when he opened fire at a Bible meeting at this church. Prosecutors said Mr. Roof targeted the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church, a historic sanctuary for African Americans, so he could draw maximum attention to the slayings and because it was a place where people were unlikely to be armed. They say he had a stated goal of starting a race war. Lead defense attorney David Bruck didn't call any witnesses during this initial phase of the trial and may not have an opportunity to try to sway the jurors deciding Roof's final sentence because Roof intends to defend himself going forward. Since the shootings, many of the victims' families have put a focus on forgiveness and justice, and they said they do not want the death penalty. But that decision will rest with the same jury that convicted him.
Good evening, folks. This is All Truth Speaker. You know, I was asked, sent several emails, my thoughts, for one, on the Dylann Roof murder case down in Charleston, and what did I think of his guilty verdict? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be quite blunt because my family comes from South Carolina. And I'm going to tell you again, we all know the history. I mean, the extremely sad and racist history of the South, especially South Carolina, but I'm not going to go into that. Dylann Roof was found guilty on all 33 counts. His prime reason for going there was to incite a race riot. This buffoon, this idiot, murdered Reverend Clemente Pinckney and 8 other individuals, hard-working people going to school, and everybody loved the former state senator Clemente Pinckney. They offered him in the church while they were praying. And we all heard this over and over again. It's going to be a short video. And I was asked several times, what was my take on it? Now, true, I'm a Christian, I love God. I'm not here to push what I believe on others. And they forgave him, which is astronomical. They did exactly the opposite, total opposite of what this buffoon was hoping would come of it. He was hoping for a race war. I'm sorry, not riot, a race war. Do you know what a race war looks like, Mr. Dylann Roof? You see, regardless to what Fox media tells you, the African American community is not busting at the seams. We went from supposedly 14 point whatever to 13.3 to 12.2% of the population. You see, Mr. Dylann Roof, you do not see black men bursting at the seams all over America. You see black men mostly in black communities. You see, Mr. Dylann Roof, contrary to what Bill O'Reilly or Rudolph Giuliani, that nut, says, most African Americans are hard-working individuals, not racist thugs. My view on Dylann Roof, far as forgiving I'll put it this way. Yeah, okay, I'll go so far forgive him, but he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Hard working, praying after they spent all that time asking this nut and inviting him to come and pray. This is what this clown did to incite a race war. Why don't you look, Mr. Roof? You should have looked at Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921 when they were thriving. What about Wilmington on fire? Even before that, there were 9 or 10 even more thriving black communities that were totally wiped off the map in race wars that was not started. Not one was started by a black person, but thousands were killed, businesses destroyed, and nothing was ever returned. There was no monetary return on anything. Nobody even paid for it. They just got smacks on the hand. Mr. Dylann Roof. And you coming from South Carolina, you should know better. You see, we know that racism is a learned. You have to learn to hate somebody because of the language they speak or what race or color their skin is. This is absurd. It's a disgrace, and I'm not going to go into it long because I don't like it at all. And what this man did was he tore up families. Don't you understand that? In the hopes of inciting a race war. That's a country imploding in on itself. It's like America now. Racism all over the place. There's no love of God. Morality is gone. That's out the window. And so is integrity. We're raising our children in a violent, racist, immoral society. We're going to go to war soon. For this man, pardon the expression, to go into the house of God and then try to murder 9 innocent, hardworking family members and God lovers. He should be. Do I forgive him? I haven't gone that far to all this stuff. I love God too, but I haven't gone that far where I can just look the other way and all that. You murdered innocent people. And he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I have all the papers. I can make a lot more comments. That's the way I feel. Why didn't you go down to the gangster disciples or some of the other gangland and shoot? Why didn't you go to all these, the Spanish, black, or all these other Asian gangs and pick on them? No, you picked on helpless, innocent people. That's cowardly. And by the way, Mr. Dylann Roof, this land belonged to the Indians, if I'm not mistaken. So you didn't have a nickel in the quarter. Rape. My family, I have World War II vet heroes. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor vets. These guys came home, they didn't complain, no, but they didn't get a thing out of it. They weren't even treated decent. But they held their head up high and they prayed to their God. No thanks to clowns, racist clowns like you. Do I hate you? No. But what you stand for, that's what I hate. God forgive me, and God have mercy on you, and may you get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That's my take on it. Pray for our nation, folks. This nation really needs it, because only God knows what's going to happen now. But one thing, sooner or later, you're going to go to war. $22 trillion in debt, and every second that clock ticks on the interest, it goes higher and higher, which America will never be able to pay. You got Putin on one side with Russia and the Chinese on the other one, and America's making it look like a buffoon in the front of the entire world. And next, I'm going to speak on this Tommy Sotomayor and Tariq Nasser. That was a disgrace, and I'm going to speak on that next. Good being back, folks. This is just disturbing.